Hello. So this project report is for the attention group, and we have we have worked on cross-domain machine-generated code detection and pursuing the challenge 13A of SEM Eval 2026. So the challenge is uh, binary classification from a mixture of human written and LLM generated code samples. We have to classify them into human or LLM generated. And the core challenge here is the training data set is limited to a subset of the language. 3 languages will be in the training data, and 8 languages will be there in the test data. And another challenge is the training data is limited to competitive coding or algorithmic code, and the test data is a mixture of algorithmic production and research code. The training data is around 500,000 samples, and most of it is Python samples. So it exhibits extreme bias towards one language. That makes the generalization task even more difficult. So this will have to be handled while training the models. The test data set, the full test data set has not yet been released as of today, 1st December 2025, but they have provided sample test data set, which is consists of 1,000 samples, and the this data set is imbalanced even in terms of the target labels. So the human and LLM labels are not equally represented. So 77% of the samples are human written, and it contains these 5 new languages which are not present in the training set. So let's first see balancing of the test set. This was simply done by removing the, for each language we removed the excess, uh, whichever label was excess in number, we removed it such that for each language equal number of human and LLM generated samples would be present. For the training data set, we tried 3 strategies to balance the languages. So Python is highly, the training data set is highly biased in favor of Python, around 450,000 samples out of 500,000 samples. So we tried inverse frequency weighting, random oversampling, and equal sampling. The simplest strategy of equal sampling worked better than the other strategies, and we simply removed the uh, excess samples till all the languages had equal number of samples. So it was around 19 or 20,000 samples per language. So around 58,000 the total data set was remaining. So it was a drastic reduction from 500,000 samples to 58,000 samples, but the samples turned out to be sufficient, and the models trained under equal sampling performed better. So before training our models from scratch, we established the baseline. The authors of the challenge have provided the baseline model training code on their GitHub. So it uses Microsoft Codebird base, and it is simply trained on the entire training data set without balancing it out. And on training that, uh, fine tuning that model on the training data set, and evaluating that on the balanced 446 sample test data set, the results were, the accuracy was around 57%, and its predictions were highly biased in towards predicting LLM labels. So it was had a very high recall of LLM and very low recall of human level, even though the test data set was strictly balanced. So the first model trained from scratch was uh, graph neural network with domain adversarial training, and it is based on the hypothesis that uh, the structure of the code remains invariant across languages. So, if we have to generalize to unseen languages, uh, this can be one way to do that. So, the code was uh, converted into abstract syntax tree using the tree setter library, and even the abstract syntax trees had language specific nodes, which caused issues because then uh, the unseen language would have unseen nodes, and then we would run into problems. And also language specific nodes will prevent generalization. So we ran those ASTs through a canonicalization function, which removed all the specific keywords, such as lambda function or uh, arrow key function of JavaScript, and it just converted into a function node. So it lost some information, but all the languages finally had a single vocabulary, and uh, the trees built from those vocabularies uh, were used to train the graph neural network. The graph neural network was uh, it used domain adversarial training. So the adversarial head predicted which language this code is written in, the which languages this canonicalized AST comes from, and if and its gradients were reversed so that uh, the selected features are such that you cannot tell which uh, which language that final AST comes from. So this model was just able to match the accuracy of the baseline pre-trained model, and there was a large drop from validation accuracy to test accuracy. So this this suggests that even after canonicalizing the ASTs, there are still some features remaining. Maybe the tree length or its branching pattern, which differs from the algorithmic code to production code. The second model we trained was character level transformers. So the character level tokenization helps in uh, avoiding unseen tokens in the unseen languages, since most of the characters are used in any language. So this this model was also got the same accuracy, 57%. So these the three uh, models we trained. uh, Light GBM was around 55% accuracy, and GNN and transformer are at 57. So these two models were equal to the baseline, but GNN performed better at predicting human uh, human samples, which seems to be the issue with all of these models. So 57% accuracy is not something which can be called as a success, but this project showed that what are the bottlenecks and what are the problems we face when combining two different kinds of generalization problem together. So the the models and the strategies designed for generalization, like GNN and domain adversarial training, those also fail in this situation. For future work, we propose uh, data augmentation, such as permuting independent samples and renaming variables, and noise injection, like taking the algorithmic code and injecting comments and unused functions and empty functions into that code, and fusion architectures. So the different modalities can be combined with a model which can handle multimodal input, such as a fusion transformer. So from this project, we can conclude that uh, the bias in the training data is a critical challenge which reduces the usability of the data, and the graph structure works the best in predicting human written code. And for future work, better feature engineering and data augmentation will be needed. Thank you.